proud of you. And we read every card she has ever gotten. The mail brightened her day. Not only did it comfort her, but it was a huge comfort to me and her father, just to know that we had that many people who loved her.
Okay. Right now, I take it I'm here. We're here on this nice social community media, if you will. Again, I'm Bruce Broussard, your host here at the Oregon Voters Digest. Hope all is well, and we're all looking forward to Christmas now. Turkey Day is gone, but we got some issues that we're facing here within our area, here in the Portland metropolitan area. It's called homelessness. It's a major issue. We're sort of a crisis, but we're in crisis just like everywhere else in the country for that matter. But what we're going to do today is that it's just a continuation of some of the shows that we've already been doing in regards to how we're going to address the problem. And Jordan Snitzer, who I'd say recently, because it's so current, who basically purchased the Wapato project out here in North Portland, here within District 2 of Multnomah County, and also in the city of Portland. And so we're going to just go on and continue this piece. My guests today are going to be a couple guys that are very much involved in the community along that particular line. And again, most important is the neighborhood associations have been very, very much involved. And the guy who's basically has been pretty well leading the charge in making sure we get the associations involved in this process is Jeffrey, and he's here with us today. You've seen Jeff on the show from High Noon, and we've got Rashawn, who's here also too. He's from the community, very much involved in a number of the other issues and whatever. And so I thought maybe it would be neat to have these two guys and get a little comment. But what we're going to do to begin the show is that we're going to give you a sort of the most updated version of the response by the owner, Jordan Snitzer, who's identified a sort of a point person, if you will, to lead his response in terms of actually committing to the facility being used as a resource for avoiding the whole issue of homelessness here within our community. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to show this short piece, and then we're going to come back for comments. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready to show that piece? Okay,
Since construction was completed in 2004, we've heard from countless people over the years wondering why local leaders won't use it to help the homeless. Multnomah County taxpayers paid millions for it, and many would like it put to use. One of those people, local developer Jordan Snitzer, who bought the empty facility back in 2018. He's been looking for something to do with it ever since. Joining me now is Jordan Snitzer and Alan Evans, who's founder and CEO of Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on. Let's talk about, you've possibly found a use for Wapato. Tell me about it, Jordan.
Possibly. Well, as has been reported, I bought it for the land value. Right. And one of our principal real estate businesses is warehouses. So we have a plan to build a warehouse. We got the plans all done. In fact, we're sending a check into the city this week for $110,000 for the building permit, because I'd reached a point a month ago where we just ran out of options of people coming to us that had a program that had the financial viability to it. And then something amazing happened. I was asked to be a celebrity judge in Seaside at the Convention Center for United Way to help them raise $100,000 for homeless and needy people in the Northern Oregon coast. And we're a big fan of the Northern Oregon coast. And I was there, and I was seated next to my old friend Betsy Johnson, who I've known since high school, Senator Betsy Johnson. And she said, how's Wapato? And I said, we got a contract ready to sign. And she said, you're still giving the organization I asked you to donate the kitchen equipment to, called Helping Hands, all the kitchen equipment. I said, you bet. We've excluded that from the demolition contract. She said, well, do you want to meet the founder? I said, sure. So suddenly this strapping tall big man came over and stuck out his hand and said, hi, I'm Alan Evans. And I said, tell me, I'm giving you all the kitchen equipment, but tell me your story. And he went on to tell me a story that I found captivating and inspiring, tragic, sad, but we'll hear from him and it was amazing. And you know, I've had probably 20 different groups come to us since I bought the building and announced that before we tore it down, we'd like to see it repurposed for something similar to what it was designed for, and that was a facility for people in need. And you know, I turned to an old friend, Kay Tran at Volunteers America, put her on a pedestal, the program they have. I called Homer Williams, an old friend. Others came. If I'd not gotten the input from professionals who deal daily with alcohol and drug rehab and people on the street, if they'd said that facility would not work, I would have torn it down already. But there hasn't been one professional in that field that has said this building won't work. I've had 500 people call up and want to go through it. Every single one of them has said this building can be repurposed and help those in need. What's ironic here is that basically the politicians all say it doesn't work. And yet what I'm hearing from the people who run these programs, it can work. So I said, gee, at that meeting at the convention center, I said, well, Alan, have you been through Wapato? He said, yes. I said, Betsy, have you? She said, no. I said, why don't you come through this week? So later that week, Betsy Johnson and Alan, who'd been through it, went through it with some other people. And Betsy was blown away and said, I can't believe it. I said, that's what everybody else says too. So I said, look, folks, you know, I'm ready to sign the demolition, but if you can come back to me with some program, which they have, then maybe we'll consider holding off. So a week later, we had another meeting, and they came back with an initial proposal, and it looked very good. He can tell you all about it, and I'm very excited about the potential. Now, I must make clear, this is not a done deal. Mm-hmm. He's come through with a hope and a dream, but with a lot of experience and top people on his board. So whether I'm back here in 60 days saying I've signed the contract to demolish it, I sure hope that doesn't happen. But we've been totally transparent with the press, and it's an interesting story that Alan should tell you about.
Well, Alan, I want to bring you into this now, because let's talk about Helping Hands. An Oregon nonprofit specializes in emergency shelters, transitional housing programs. What would it mean for your organization to land a place in Wapato?
Well, I think the opportunity for us would be wonderful, because we believe we have something special that's a little bit different. Being a data-driven, trauma-informed organization that actually evaluates the people we're helping and provides assistance to them based on the obstacles they face to re-enter society. This would be a wonderful opportunity for us, because we've been sitting on the outside looking in and seeing this huge problem and seeing this facility and seeing so many people in need, that we believe we bring this special element to this, and that's the opportunity for an intake center to be able to do those evaluations. So this relationship with Jordan and the opportunity for Wapato would be huge for our organization, because we believe we do it different than everybody else does.
Let's talk about it, because you have quite a history yourself. You were homeless in your own life way back. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I was homeless since the age of 13, in and out of jail and prison, and prison in 2 states.
How many jails were you in?
Well, over the years, about 30.
How many prisons were you in?
I was in 2 different states.
How old were you when you first became a drug addict?
I was 13. So having the ability to go from soup kitchen to soup kitchen and shelter to shelter, a lot of times what was happening is what people seen on the outside and what was really going on the inside were 2 different things. They would see the drug addict. They would see the guy who showed up with a shopping cart pushing it down the street, or a sign. And actually on the inside, I lived through some traumatic stuff as a child. And
so it would mean a lot to you to have a facility like this to help young people like you were helped at some point.
Absolutely. But the truth is I was helped when I got arrested. You can ask for help in so many ways, but getting arrested became getting rescued. When you knock on enough doors and they don't give you everything that you need to change your life, getting arrested becomes getting rescued, and that's what my story was.
I want to talk about Wapato. You took a tour as well with Senator Johnson?
I've been there several times.
Okay.
Yes.
As you know, you've been trying for a long time to get the local politicians to listen to you, and they've said there's no public transportation, it's not near any services, costs too much to renovate. I want to get both your responses to all of that. Go ahead, Jordan.
I think it's better that Alan answer that.
All right, go ahead, Alan.
And tell him about some of your, tell him the number of facilities you operate now and the people you take care of now and where some of them are located and how they work. That'll put in context.
So we run 11 facilities. Several of them are out of town by miles, and they're full, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, is serve people. So I don't believe the distance from town is an obstacle whatsoever. I don't think the access to Wi-Fi or a library is the problem. People are hopeful, and they're trying to survive. And so an opportunity to come out to a facility like this would be wonderful. I've got a facility that's 7 miles out of town in Tillamook, and a large facility, and it's full, and it's doing wonderful.
Let's talk about a timeline here. So what are you thinking? I mean, we're talking a month, 2 months down the road? When do you think this could possibly happen?
Well, certainly his programs today take care of over 200 people a night. And if you look at the people on his board, the mayor of Seaside, chief of police, a fellow, Kevin Lacoste, I know well, who runs U.S. Bank for about a third of the state, he's put together a stellar board and a heck of an operation, and a lot of respect from the people that not only observe it, but are on the board, and from all the people he's made a difference in their lives and helped them get off the street. So what I said is, when they made the initial proposal, I said, look, this is a big stretch for you. My concern is you operate a $1 million-a-year budget right now. I don't want you to tackle this and hurt the 11 facilities you're operating now. So a couple of conditions. One is, first, I want to make sure all your board goes through it and they're supportive of it, okay, not just the person that founded it. Second, I said, we'll commit $1 million to you to help get this thing off the ground, but you've got to go out and match that with $2 or $3 million more to have, $4 million, $5 million bucks to really get this going. Third, you've got to reach out to some leaders in the Portland community and create an advisory board. Maybe eventually they become part of your full board, a separate board, whatever the governance is down the road. But make sure there are others that are supportive. And I said, if you can pull that off in 30 or 60 days, we'll hold off the demolition. And nothing would make me and so many others feel good as if we could turn this facility around and help people on the street get off the street and get back to being productive citizens in the lives that they want to lead. They tell me, when you were on the street, did you want to be on the street? Do these people want to be on the street under the Burnside Bridge?
I never met a person who said, I woke up this morning and this is who I want to be or what I want it to be like. We end up in survival mode, doing what we can to protect ourselves. Drug abuse is easy because it's the closest thing to self-medicate, to get away from the feelings. And I haven't met one person who woke up in the morning and said, this is where I want to be today. I want to have these issues in my life.
We're going to take a break. We're going to continue our conversation, the future of Wapato, when we come back.
There you go, good. All right, then. As you can see, we're going to take a little short break or whatever, but I want to make sure I acknowledge Steve Dunn. I mean, he's doing a marvelous job, if you will, on Sunday mornings between 9 and 9:30, just basically informing us and educating us on issues that are very relevant, if you will, to our well-being here within the city of Portland. So we want to take our head off to Channel 2 and KATU. Do check out his show. Awesome job, Steve. Okay, fine. Are we back on now? Is that it? Okay.
Jail in Multnomah County. Joining me now is Jordan Schnitzer and Alan Evans, who's founder and CEO of Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers. Alan, I want to ask you this question. This is important for people out there. How many people do you suppose would be in your facility at one time?
Well, what we want to do is we want three wings in this, so that's about 260 people, men, women, and families. And so about 270 at this facility here, which would put us at about 470 to 490.
Would that serve primarily the Portland metro area then?
Oh, absolutely. We're a referral-only agency, so you can't push a shopping cart up to the door. You've got to get referred to us by another agency, and this allows us to form partnerships with multiple agencies. I mean, one of the good things about this is that there are a lot of agencies interested in being a part of this, and so there's wonderful programs that are ran in our community. If we can get everybody to one location, hubbed around the people in need, we can actually collaborate and do something extremely special here. Can you imagine going to a facility when you're broken in so many different ways and you can get access to detox and to treatment and to mental health services and to vocational training and opportunities with job placement and everything in one place that you could just walk down the hallway. We have several of those facilities now, and they're beautiful. I mean, you walk in and you feel love and you feel opportunity, and people begin to trust. People don't trust right now. And you know, that's the thing. I spent the last hour and a half under Birdside talking to people today. Nothing's changed since I was on the streets here 18 years ago.
You have expectations for these folks to live by, don't you? You have requirements there.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's not going to be a place that we just warehouse the homeless. I mean, you have to come in and you have to follow rules. And when we do an initial evaluation, we've got a great database, tactical demographics, that allows us to assess a person's needs and set up individual reentry plans for them. But in order to do those things, you have to follow rules. We have to say, we have an expectation of you. We're going to hold up our end of the bargain, but we expect you to hold up yours. And so there's rules in place for this, and you have to abide by them. If not, what we offer and what you need aren't the same thing, and then we have to part ways.
Does this all sound pretty good to you?
Extremely good, because I think the difference is this is a guy that for 27 years was on the street. He is one of the survivors that is successful. He can talk to people differently than you and I can. We can talk to people on the street and say, how can I help you? What can you do? Whatever. But there's a different credibility with someone that's been one of them and now is a role model of someone that's lifted themselves up and is helping others get out of the situations they're in.
I know you've still got more to do here. You talked about that. Do you feel pretty good at this point, Jordan, that you found your match finally for that building?
Two things happen. One is we're at least trying. Okay. The worst thing is to not try. I think we worked pretty hard for a year and a half trying to work with anybody that came to us, and we hit sort of a dead end. You know, in life, things happen cosmically. You know, people come together. So if it hadn't been for that being down in Seaside, wouldn't have met him. And by God, he's confident. I think their program works. The nice thing about his program, it is complementary to Volunteers of America that does a fabulous job. Kate Turan, one of the best executives in our state, that we're lucky she's working in the field of helping people, seniors, kids, juveniles, drug addicts, whatever. Central City Concern, transition projects. We have lots of other providers who do a good job that can all work in concert with him. We need somebody to get out there and dispel this rumor. First, is this a prison? Is it a prison? You've been in prison. Is this a prison?
No.
Why not?
This is a building.
That's been one of the complaints from some of the
There are
people.
no
that
cells.
It was a
There are
prison.
no cells. Okay, each wing has 12 bathrooms, 12 showers, classrooms, workout areas. There are no cells in the entire building. Okay, distance takes 14 minutes to get there, except during rush hour. And if this were in Beaverton, Hillsborough, Tigard, during rush hour, it'd take you 45 minutes anyway.
Let me ask you this question. How close did we get to the wrecking ball at Wapato?
We have a contract ready to sign with a contractor. There were 3 bidders, and we picked one and ready to go. And we've got it, you know, it's costing us $40,000 or $50,000 a month. But in the end, in life, there are certain legacy projects. You know, I've worked on the Astoria Column for 31 years. I saved the Middleman Jewish Community Center and Portland Jewish Academy. I was on the Japanese Garden Board for 20 years. I've worked on a number of things. You know, when you look back in life, obviously, most importantly, are your family, your friends. But then you think about ways which you made a difference. The name isn't important. What's important is in 10 or 20 years, if this facility can be repositioned with leadership like this and in partnership with other wonderful organizations in the community, that's the kind of thing you feel really good about, having given back to the city that we love.
I've got about 10 seconds left. Your final thoughts on this before we go.
Today I was in the facility, and I was in one of the dorms, and I was emailing my office. There's Wi-Fi there.
There is Wi-Fi. Good to know. Good to have you guys on this program. We'll be following this
Thank
story
you.
very, very closely in the days and weeks to come, and I hope it happens. We appreciate that very much. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Jordan, for coming on.
You bet.
We'll be right back to Breakfast.
Okay, here we go. Well, you've seen the latest, if you will, on the whole issue of Wapato, and as you can see, you've got an owner, in Jordan Schnitzer, that really is committed to making sure that his goal is to make sure that facility is being used for. So I'd call it a wellness center, a good community center to get folks.
Center of Hope.
Yes, a center of hope. That's what it's based on. And so I just want to make sure we showed that piece. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn my attention here to Jeff here. And Jeff, what do you think? You've seen that? You've been involved in this. Just for the benefit of some of the viewers out there, how long have you been involved in this issue?
Well, about 4 months now.
About 4 months.
I got a seat at the table only because I sent an email to Jordan and said, you know, I think you need help with Wapato. I can offer you something. And basically I said, I think I can get 94 neighborhoods or a large percentage of them to back you on Wapato. And, you know, I also said, I think you're going to have to look for private funding because I don't think you're going to get it from the city and the county. I wish you could pull that little text message up because it was pretty right on. But within 10 minutes on a Sunday, he emailed me back. He didn't know who I was. And he says, that's intriguing. Nobody's offered that before. So basically what that culminated into was getting 250 or more people to tour the facility just within the last 2 weeks. And everybody, as he said, he's had 18 months worth of tours. He's had all the professionals look at it. Everybody holds their hands up. I don't understand why this building for almost 20 years was not used. And this is a facility that could be used for, getting people saved and get them re-enter into society at some level that they're capable of. The main thing with a neighborhood association like ours, High Noon, is Hayden Island Neighborhood Network. We're just one of 94 neighborhoods, but it just goes to show you how strong the neighborhood associations are in the city of Portland. And when they come together, I had to go to the other 5 coalitions of neighborhoods, and eventually I was getting some positive feedback, and then enough where I suggested, I think we can get a couple hundred people over there. And, we caused a traffic jam.
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, I missed not being able to speak at that last meeting because I was out there pounding on car doors and getting them to squeeze up and get the semis off, because that's an area where people work, and these trucks got tied up in that same thing. We were 1.5 blocks back. So, but anyways, I'm all about the neighborhood associations. I'm all about livability, and part of livability in any neighborhood is helping the homeless. We have got to find anything and everything to use to help the homeless. This is just another piece, but it's a big piece, And that particular facility, as he just said, would be 270 people. That's just a start. That facility could probably handle a lot more than that, and if nothing else, if the homeless want to keep their tents, it's on 18 acres. They could easily, hey, all right, I'll try it, pitch their tent out there.
Yeah,
They're not going to stay in that tent very long when they can go inside. They got a kitchen that'll make 1,000 meals a day. They got showers. They can have a bed if they want it. There's a lot of opportunity, and it's divided. It was built with 9 separate wings. So when he mentions families and men and women, they don't have to be involved with each other. They can keep them separate. So it's actually the best facility I've seen. I just had a meeting today with somebody in the press, and somebody who's more of a writer and author of articles rather than a person that writes in for the newspapers. But I asked her, I said, well, city of Portland, Ted Wheeler, Chloe Udaly, I'm not Chloe, but Deborah Kafori, they all want to do this housing first.
Well, Deborah's the chair of
Multnomah County. But at any rate, I always ask people, I said, well, so you're going to take somebody that's been miserably living on the street, fighting for themselves, and you're going to put them in a brand new facility, I don't care what it is, a room with a bathroom or whatever, before they get assessed and get help. Now you're going to get them housed, and you expect them to make their way to their next appointment, to their detox or whatever. It can all happen in this building, which still has a medical wing and a dental wing. There's still an x-ray machine in there. It's a great opportunity. I think that Jordan Schnitzer is definitely, he's serious. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. I've been in 3 meetings with him. But, at the same time, his business side, as he just said, hey, 60 days, 90 days, whatever, if this is just not going to work, he's capable of pulling that trigger. So.
Well, I might add also, too, that I happen to be running for mayor, and as my involvement has been as a result of the statement that he made from the standpoint that leaders and government doesn't want to get involved in dealing with the whole issue, the crisis that we're living in right now.
It's poor leadership.
It's ridiculous. And so I'm saying to all the other folks who are running for office, because one of us is going to be mayor. I'm signing off right now, and I hope that the other folks that are running for mayor would come on the show. Well, I'm thinking about these other individuals.
Yeah.
I'm already there. I visited the facilities as I met you and I knew you, and I live out there on Hayden Island anyway, so I'm very much involved. I visited with a number of the folks that are there who are homeless, and I saw some veterans that were there too. So and after I got this other hat that I wear, which no vets left behind, and I'm working very diligently, and we do still have veterans out there on the streets who are homeless.
Too many of
and they got problems and whatever. So that's my main interest. But I'm also challenging those folks who are running for office. They should have been at some of those walkthroughs, and they still have the opportunity to do that. All you have to do is just call Gordon Schnitzer, and he'll talk to you about this issue. I think to me it's a major issue here for the city of Portland. And if you run, especially if you're running for mayor, you need to be involved. So I'm challenging. And then after there's the other person that's also running for mayor. He happens to be wearing two hats. He's still working at the city, in Wheeler, but he's running for mayor. So he's just an individual, just like I am. One of us is going to be and all of us should be working together to make sure we solve the problem. That's just 500 beds, or 200 some odd beds.
It could be more than that. That's a big
still,
facility.
But still, it's an issue. I'm looking at the whole problem. I mean, I've got feelings, and I've been talking about basically what I think are the solutions. But the bottom line is that it bothers me when you've got folks that are running for office, that are i.e. that are elected leaders, and 80 to 90% of our community here in the city of Portland are saying, do something about this homeless problem. And you've got these folks who have just recently been elected to office that are sitting in these seats, both the county and the city, and they're playing games with people's lives. People are dying on the streets. It was said in the Tribune some time ago that 150 people died in last winter. In fact, I've been visiting with folks of late that people are dying right now. And it's like, why play games with people's lives, if you will?
That count is only the people that were reported by hospitals.
Exactly.
So we don't know how many people actually did die.
Exactly. And then we got a county. Again, we got a chair of a county, in Deborah Kafori aspect of it, and there are 4 other commissioners, and the county is districtized. We got 4 other commissioners who are responsible for the entities living within their particular respective area. District 2 is the largest population of the county, which is inclusive of this project. And it's a sad note. And then the other thing that's kind of ridiculous. Imagine we got the Humane Society. The county runs the Humane Society of the county, Humane Society, and it services, guess what? Animals. The Humane Society. And we got human beings that are dying and are just living like it's just the opposite, you would think. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure we get those points across. And I invite those folks who are running for office for the city of Portland. I'm challenging you. You need to know what this project is all about. You can either give Jeff a call at high noon at Hayden Island, or you can call Jordan Smith. Let him know that we're committed, if you will, about his commitment, and start letting him know we appreciate the efforts that he's making to deal with the issue of homelessness. Very important. Rashawn, what do you think about the?
Well, a couple shows back we talked about kind of the premise and the background, the history of this, and quite honestly, being of a generation coming up and learning these issues and immediately want to tackle some of these issues and provide solutions, you have to gather up the facts of the situation. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, this is a grave failure in this area for leadership. It's you don't get many opportunities with the business community to do fixes like this. Whenever you have a businessman like Mr. Schnitzer that is crying out for, listen, here's my ducks I'll put up. Mm-hmm. Leadership's got to come to the table and make that happen. Mm-hmm. And that's what government is for. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what is the purpose? So this is something that I think that will continue to be watched very closely. There's not a lot of time being allowed for this match and for this to be put together, but it's time now for the county and the city. And those,
Well, it's a crisis.
yeah.
It really is.
Major crisis aspect of it. And again, as far as someone might say, well, okay, fine, Bruce, what can we do out here? We're listening to what you guys are saying. Well, in all due respect, you can pick up the phone and call up both the county and the city.
Yeah.
Call up the guy who's sitting down there in that mayor's seat right now. His name happens to be Ted Wheeler, and tell him that you support what this gentleman, this private individual, is proposing to solve with some of the problem. Can't totally solve all of the problem, but it's a good start to begin with. And the same thing with the county. We got Deborah Kafori. She sits in that chair. She's the chair. Even though you got 4 other commissioners, sometimes I question as to whether or not they have any impact. But the fact is, call these people up. Multnomah County. You can Google it on your phone and get her phone number, and you can just whatever and get that number and call them up and show support, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Can I add another thing
Yes,
about
go
what
on.
the
Go
neighborhood
for it.
associations have done?
Yes.
High Noon is just, we're all volunteers, but I've got 16 pages here of things that we do. I've got them itemized on the front page, but one of the things that maybe Gordon isn't even, or Jordan isn't you got me to say Gordon, see. Aware of is that we have helped protect this entire huge circumference of the city from Vancouver to downtown City Hall, because we have a scientist and his wife on the island. Who would ever guess that basically took the Pembina propane facility that was going to be a storage facility right at Terminal 6, and a lot of the things that they said about the safety were taken to task, and the researchers that Al and Jan Roxburgh, they put together a 130-page white paper on it, showing that you don't have responsibility, Pembina, for anything until it gets into your storage tank. You're not responsible for the trains that bring it. You're not responsible for the ship that gets loaded, takes it away. But the shrapnel from an explosion was never addressed until Al Roxburgh brought it up. And that shrapnel would have reached City Hall, and it would go all the way north into practically Salmon Creek in Vancouver. And Jordan Schnitzer has the one warehouse community right on a Marine Drive over there, the stockyards, definitely in the line of fire. But anyway, again, neighborhood associations are all volunteers. We don't get paid. We barely get $950 a year, which covers our bare necessities. We run at a $430 a month deficit, and we're trying to make that up with a bottle drop.
Okay.
But,
Well,
yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Well, like I said, tell your neighbors, pick up that phone and call those folks aspect of it. But do get involved. This is and it's a good time to do that too. And by the way, when you see these folks, we want you to vote. We want you to get out there and meet these folks like myself and whatever, and ask them the question, point blank, what do you plan to do about homelessness? That's the top of the list within this city, okay? So with that, we're going to take a short break and come up with the next guest. Thank you again for looking. Thank you again, Steve Dunn from Channel 2, Your Voice, Your Vote.
Thank you, Bruce.
You are watching Oregon Voters Digest. This program can be seen again on these channels on these dates and times. Tell a friend.
back now. I tell you what, okay, for this particular time, we're doing the Martin Luther King Day informational, educational format today. The rationale is because we're going to be closed for the month of January, and we wanted to make sure that we highlight, as far as I'm concerned, the one and only community lead. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know that there's going to be a lot of folks having identifying with Dr. King and presenting a lot of things. That's history. That's our history for that mystery month. But in all due respect, the one community event that really involves the entire community happens to be this particular outfit, if you will, or organization. And they've been doing it for years. And I wanted to make sure they were able to give you sort of an opportunity to find out what's going to happen in this upcoming Martin Luther King Day event and when it's going to happen. And they've got all sorts of goodies. And especially to get out there and take some of those goodies that they normally bring to the table. I like that day.
Yes, sir.
And Michael beats me out on that deal. But anyway, I've got these gentlemen and this young lady here that's with us today. You've seen their faces before. But I just want to just throw that out there, and then they're just going to just share with you now. I'm going to shut up and just let them talk. Either guys will do it, or they there, or she'll take the lead. But take the lead and tell the folks what's going on and what's going to happen.
Let me first of all, Bruce, thanks for your service over all these years, giving this community broadcast and making sure that people are informed about a variety of topics. I love the range, and I'm sure that you have quite a big fan club. I'd like to introduce Arietta Ward. Arietta Ward is a family member, in fact, the daughter of the great and late Janice Scroggins. She is our associate producer. She worked directly under the wings of Mr. Ken Berry, who is our executive producer, and Mr. Donnie Adair, who is our chief MC. He has a flock of MCs, or a team of MCs that manage the flow on the show. That's important because this show is 6.5 hours long, non-stop, which is a production nightmare, and except for the fact that we've been doing it for 35 years.
35
Credit goes to Ken Berry and World Arts Foundation, Inc. We're very proud of that. And we don't find ourselves in competition with the other programs. Rather, we're happy to be part of a community of efforts to celebrate and recognize the tributes of the great Pulitzer Prize winning and social activist and civil rights leader, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King
Let
Jr.
me quickly remind people that you, Michael Chappie Grice, are the president of World Arts Foundation, which is the sponsor for what we're calling Till Victory is Won, our 35th anniversary celebration of the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, thank you, Donnie. That's generous.
Good job.
Well, we work with a team. I think that, at the core of this, what really makes it happen is the production team, which is a team of volunteers, all volunteers that handle every aspect from sound to lights to moving the furniture on and off the stage. Our stage manager, Mr. Joe Bean Keller, coordinates that at the stage level. The various choirs, their directors come, partner with us. Our security, which collaborates with the Portland Police Bureau, as well as the security folk at Highland Christian Center, which we're very happy to have as our partner, I think now for 8 years. Following in the footsteps of Pastor Hardy.
Yes.
So we're thankful for that relationship, but at the core of it are the volunteers, the people who devote their time and their energy and their expertise and their vision to create a program that has been welcomed across the decades now. And it isn't always the same people, but they all have the same energy, a common commitment to quality, and a common commitment to diversity and getting various perspectives of people who speak, as well as the range of arts. Our motto is working hard at the intersection of education and the arts. So that's what we do.
Let me, just for our television audience, say clearly what we're talking about, the event, and then maybe turn it over to Arietta, who's worked so closely with Ken Berry on putting this program together to talk about who's in it and that kind of thing. But
what is the event?
The event is the 35th anniversary celebration we call Keep Alive the Dream. And we've been doing this for years now. I've been pleased to work with Michael and Ken Berry for 35 years on this project. Never thought I would be able to do it for 35 years when they first asked me to MC. And the program is a radio television simulcast. The good people with Comcast system, Open Signal,
The open signals part, yeah.
as part of our effort to get it out via television. Other local cable systems are picking it up now. So the program is really regional on television, and then of course on radio we have KBOO FM, which is where the program originally started in their studios, and how kind of outgrew that, and then that's when we started doing this live production. So it's a radio television simulcast, and because of the internet connection, we'll be live on KBOO anywhere in the world you can get it, and then also we'll be streaming through the website. And we've tried to stay up with the times. You'll get some of us on Twitter. You can stream us, and all the social media that you would think of, we'll have a presence there. So as Michael said, 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
We'll start at 11 in the morning and end up at 5:30. There at Highland Christian Center, 7600 Northeast Gleason. That's 76 in Gleason in Portland, Oregon. And we've been there a number of years. Great home. It's great to have this kind of celebration about civil rights in a church atmosphere where the civil rights movement began and emanated and grew and became successful.
And the pastor, shout out to Pastor Hardy.
Right.
Shout out to Pastor Hardy.
And Larry Dunham. Let's not
And
forget
Larry Dunham and the Master
KBOR.
Blaster, Mr. George
So you
Page,
have
who began with
music,
us on.
keynote or key greetings being brought by key people in the community, but all our schools are participating in the local area, and as we always have them there, so that the youngsters can come and participate, share their joy, share their talent with the whole community. And then we'll have Lifetime Achievement Awards, which we started some 20 years ago, 25 maybe years ago, and we didn't think it would become a big deal, but we wanted to honor people who we thought was carrying on Martin Luther King's dream, his legacy for equal opportunity.
The unsung heroes, many of them are in the community.
Only
While
place in town during that time.
While we're on the topic of Highland Christian Center, let us not forget the new pastor who stepped into the shoes, the big shoes of Pastor Hardy. His name is Dr. Sean Nayland, and he's backed up by Leslie Williams, and that team out there really makes it possible for us to have the kind of community connection.
Ariana, you want to talk about the program and
what it takes?
What y'all are putting together?
Yes. Well, we've put together, well, it's not just we, just, there's a lot of different, it's a variety of people, a lot of variety of speakers. And we have a lot of people that are coming back that haven't been there for a while, like the taiko drummers. They'll be back. And we have a lot of children. You know, that's one of the main things that Mr. Berry likes to incorporate, especially it's just a good opportunity to have the children from the different schools come and participate. And we have Fabian, and my sister is actually helping with that this year, Napasaria, and Jefferson Dancers, and Sebikan Jr., that's with Miss Rolia, and they always bring a fabulous energy to the program as well. And Ronnie Wright, and he is the founder of his collective called the Bespeak Collective, Bespeak, and along with Alonzo Chadwick. And there's a lot of people from the community that are coming to just present themselves and just to share their gifts and to national. Oh, we're doing the national acts as well. Okay, so we're bringing Donnell Damon and Greatest Works. Right. Now, they were semifinalists on America's Got Talent. America's Got Talent, you know, nationally syndicated broadcast. And that was quite an honor for us to be able to get another regional group. Yes. And they've been with us before. They've been with us before. And they don't forget where they came from. So it's nice of them to come down and share that talent. And they have a new album and so forth too, so they'll be talking about that.
One tradition that we've had is that we pepper the program with gospel choirs and gospel music themes, and this year that'll be complemented by the national act of Angela Brown, who is also going to have a seminar across the street after her production, after her role in the program on that day. But her national renown really complement the gospel theme and the other vocal performers that will be on stage as well, including Donnell Damon.
Okay. Yeah, in fact, why don't we get Ken in here? Why don't we take the seat? In fact, why don't you take my seat? This way you guys can converse still.
No, we're gonna keep you in it.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Give me one seat. Get him in here.
Yes, sir.
Real quick.
Arietta has a rehearsal.
As you know, she's a renowned vocalist.
Oh, very
on
much
her
so.
own right.
own
I
right.
take
And
it.
she
I
took
take it.
some
She.
time today.
Oh, awesome.
But she's headed for a rehearsal.
Yes, yes. I take it she's going to sing. Are you going to be a part of the?
Yes, I'm bringing my gospel ensemble, Voices of
Awesome.
Greatness.
Awesome. Awesome.
We're gonna
Awesome.
come
Great.
and be
Thank you
blessed.
so much.
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Thanks very much. Thank you very
Have
much
a
for being
wonderful
here.
day.
And we know what our motto is, right, Bruce? You remember that, right?
Was that?
We not only stand on the shoulders of those who are passed on before us,
Okay.
we stand on the shoulders of those who are among us. And
Oh, I know that.
Thank you.
I knew that.
I gotta applaud you because she's been with me. She's been with me for a long time.
She's the one. She's the one. Well, all right, Mr. Berry.
Hey,
Okay, welcome again. I mean,
good to be here.
It's exciting to know that you guys are going to be doing this, and then having known you guys for all the years that I've known you, whatever, you do a heck of a job, and
Thank you.
and I'm not taking anything away from anyone else.
No.
But you bring the community together. And
That's the intent.
And that's a very important. And in fact, a lot of times it gives the competition that you guys put out. They have to do a better job. Let's put it that way.
Well, one of the central points of that, bringing the community together,
Yes.
is our Victory Village.
Yes.
It is, for lack of a better term, a bazaar, a showcase of community organizations.
Marketplace might be a good
Marketplace, where they set up their tables and show their wares and communicate. They recruit. They interact with one another, and it turns out to be a bit of a class reunion for many of the people who've been there before and people who don't get to see each other except for this occasion on the
Let's hear the history behind that, because many years ago we talked about Larry Dunham, who was
Yes.
very instrumental in making us make sure we preserve this program over the years. When we were at Jefferson High School, we kind of outgrew the auditorium because so many people in the foyer area were congregating. So the fire department was coming in saying, "Hey, you got to do something here." So fortunately, we had folks like Raina Beavers and who came aboard, and we decided to have downstairs in the cafeteria an area for people to not just socialize, but also show their vendor
Right.
supplies and things of that nature. So from that, it's kind of emerged into what we're doing right now, and we call it the Victory Village, which is our theme, till victory is won as well. So that's how we kind of got to that point. And people, every year, we have about 45 to 50 vendors that come through, and along with a couple other radio stations, we'll be broadcasting out of the Victory Village as well. And I want to say a special shout out to Sunshine Dixon, who's the one that's basically coordinating that piece, and she does a wonderful job doing that.
You know, I've got to add this other point too, and then, like I kind of got involved a little bit from an activist standpoint because I was doing my show when you guys were at Jefferson.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember I questioned it from the standpoint,
sir.
hey, man, what's going on here? You got to stick around here. And then we spent some time together, and I've been there ever since, so to speak. But again, the most important thing that I see a lot of times, and I see big time, is the diversity that you have and the diversity of the folks that come.
Yes.
You know, this city has been identified as the most whitest city in the country, for that matter. But in all due respect, when they come every year, they come in flocks.
Yes,
And really, it's not that. But my point is that because of what you all do, this really gives a totally different definition, if you will, and really promotes Portland and whatever, the tourism and whatever.
We have a friend all the way from North Carolina, in Candor, North Carolina, a very small community, a lady by the name of Miss Almeda Armstrong, who was the first African American elected as president of the North Carolina School Boards Association. And she gave us an idea, embracing the worth of all.
Awesome.
And I think that that's known in the community now. So people, no matter their background, no matter their race or their ethnicity, they feel comfortable coming there.
Yes.
And they find some reflection. I think Arietta mentioned the taiko drummers. These are the Japanese, very intense drumming ensemble that you don't want to miss that. That and the bell ringing ceremony are my favorite parts of that. What about the green room, Kenny B?
Well, the green room, that's going to be an area that people can actually come in and actually be interviewed, and we'll do some post-production on people that who can't get on the show, because we can only get so many people on the show. Our formula is basically 8 minutes for performers and 3 minutes for our speakers, and so now it's a tight rein that takes in place. But I want to mention also that doing this over the years, we talk about this standing on shoulders, but we do this in honor of Judge Diaz. We do it in Reverend John Jackson. We do it at Reverend Gail Hardy. We do it on Mother Collins, just to name a few of the people who have influenced us over the years and helped us to get through our particular struggles from
Bishop
childhood
Osborne.
all the way to the present. Bishop Osborne is going to be with us again. She's been with us every year, since Whitaker Middle School, which was started back in 1985. And so we're standing on those shoulders, and we're trying to pass it on to young folks.
Mention my shout out to my brother Woods.
Oh yeah,
my brother Woods.
my Uncle Harold. If it wasn't for him coming here through the railroad, I wouldn't be here right now. Okay,
yes,
1953. To go back in time. William Woods.
Yes. So like I said, that's what I'm saying. I'm sitting here as I listen to what you guys are saying. All of a sudden, I'm getting involved again, and that's the kind of atmosphere that you all have when you have this event. People come to congregate, they middle, you have police, you have all kinds of folks that are sitting there.
And we don't want to forget
very
education, like
education.
Dr. Hartzog,
Yes.
and Dr. Matthew Prophet.
Yes.
Those are the shoulders also that we're standing on and trying to carry the torch that they gave to us.
I even think about the last
June Key.
In fact, June Key, and I'm thinking about my old buddy who was there with me the last time around. And that was old Chad.
Oh yeah,
old Chad was at the
that's
last
right.
time.
That's right.
I told him that the last time around. I said, "Are you gonna sing this time, brother?" I said, "Check with Kenny."
And the current administration in the Portland schools is supportive as well. So
yes.
They're new, but they are very supportive, and we appreciate that. They see how we reach out and include the various schools, which showcases the children, which brings their parents, and plants the seeds for a future generation that might want to find a way to acknowledge and celebrate and revisit the achievements of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And the singing is so awesome. I mean, the various groups, the kids and the grown-ups, I mean, the singing, and people, if you really want to hear some singing, some good gospel singing.
We don't want to miss Danielle Damon this year because he's in Italy as we speak. They're doing a tour in Italy. And so they've considered to come to actually March. We wrote a grant, and thanks to RAC as one of our sponsors, we got support from them to bring them here. And he's in Washington, D.C., but and some of his members are scattered all over the East Coast, and a lot of them are up in Seattle and Renton, Washington. So they're coming down for that. And of course, Angela Brown, I can't say enough about her. I mean, she's an international soprano opera star who basically was on ABC. She does a portion called Opera from a Sister's Point of View. She's scheduled to be on at 1 o'clock that day. And following that, across the street, we worked with the church across the street. She's going to go over and do a 45-minute workshop and basically work with young people, with adults or community members that want to learn more about what opera is from a sister's point of view. Special thanks to the Summerfest program, who is also one of our sponsors this year, along with Portland Public Schools.
Now, as far as participating, a lot of times I know you take contributions or whatever. What are you going to do this? Are you doing canned goods? Or
we're not going to turn away nobody at the door, but we do ask for $5 or 5 cans of non-perishable food for the food bank.
Very important.
And so, but no one will be turned away.
What if they want to make a direct donation? Can they go online?
Yeah, they can go online. I encourage everyone. I like to give everyone a homework assignment, if I may, because that's a former teacher coming out of me. Go to the website and type in worldartsfoundation.org.
Okay, one more time. What was that?
worldartsfoundation.org.
Okay.
And you go to that site, you have all the information. The press release is there, the flyer is there, and also another part B to the homework assignment is go to the internet and type in Angela Davis to see for yourself, or type in Danielle Damon and Greater Works Choir. You'll get a chance to get just a little bit, just a little taste of what they're going to be doing on January 20th at Highland Center.
Okay, now you have tables too that are available.
Yep, those are vendor tables.
Vendor tables?
I think we're sold out of vendor tables, but it doesn't hurt to make contact with Sunshine Dixon. And you can make contact with her through our website. And by the way, they may get Angela Davis, and they also will get Angela Brown. They're going to come on.
Oh, that's Angela Davis.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
she's happy that you mentioned her
Angela
as well.
Brown. Angela
she's part
Brown
of the great civil rights movement.
Angela Brown. That's right. Thank you for the clarity.
Well,
I needed
want
that.
to clarify for our audience, because somebody's going to call you. And
I was
say,
just checking to
We
see if
were
you were
a couple
listening.
of years younger when we started this. We were sharp then.
Yes.
But you know, the edge is worn just a little bit.
Oh no, by
That's
no
why
means.
we're bringing in so many.
That's why I asked you.
That's
That's why I asked you about some of the mistakes you were supposed to be bringing this time around. I was going to show the people. That's all I was going to do. I was just going to promote your program. I was going to show the people what they look like. Nothing wrong with that.
Maybe on the next visit, I'll do
There we
something
go.
like that.
There we
But that has been one of our goals too, is to
Yes.
incorporate younger people.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
we've got people like Valerie Peterson working with us on the Lifetime Achievement Awards, Heather Cox, Donnell Adair is really now the official MC. I take
Yes.
directions from
Yes.
my own son,
Yeah.
and I work with Ken a lot behind the scenes. But during the production, I take orders from him. We've got just some wonderful people MCing now, younger people, and we've got younger people involved in throughout the production. And like Arietta, who was here, and she is with Ken on every part of this program. And we just, go to the website, young people, because you guys are media savvy, and look at the page on volunteers, sign up, come out, be an usher, do something to just get involved with us.
I think we'd be
And
remiss
you'll-
if we
you'll
didn't
grow.
mention our new Director of Operations, Ms. Sandra Wadsworth, who has also been,
Thank you.
if Arietta is his right hand, she's his left hand.
hand.
And it's a great collaborative effort across the community, but also within the community, where we've transitioned from trying to please the audience to trying to please the artists to trying to really satisfy all of the workers. And when we do that, then we have a really cohesive group and a common purpose. That
Yeah, let me
Look like we're at the end of the deal. We're going
Okay.
to direct it to you.
Yep.
That website again.
Yeah,
Give
the
them
website,
how to
World
get in
Arts
touch.
Foundation Incorporated. Also, the fact that we are going to be honoring 13 Lifetime Achievement Awards recipients this year. So
Awesome.
we look forward to seeing you.
Awesome. I will be there, folks. Please join us. Please join us. And do attend. It's going to be an awesome event.
day on, not a day off.
Yes. Have a good one. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
All right.